was no provision to allow women in. And my quotes were inevitably very short because they had said it all before in the locker room. So today, the women are in there.
And when people are making major decisions about what goes on page one and how things are played, we had to have more women who, that's their job, that's what they do.
If I had to put my finger on characteristics that help one succeed in this business as a woman, it's persistence, it's determination, it's never taking no for an answer.
Women have been through many trials and tribulations within their journalism careers. They face challenges from not being able to be a public face to not having their ideas heard. Now, as time goes on, women are strongly progressing in the entertainment and media industries. Women are out becoming main anchors and managing and even owning their own television networks. Women have made major contributions to this medium and to the world. Women's rights activist, writer, and literary critic Sarah Margaret Fuller Ossoli, commonly known as Margaret Fuller, was born May 23, 1810 in Cambridgeport, Massachusetts. She was given education from her father and then put into formal schooling and became a teacher. Alice Dunnigan was born near Russellville, Kentucky on April 27, 1906. She began her journalism career at 13 when she began writing for the Owensboro Enterprise. She later became a Kentucky history teacher at the Kentucky Normal and Industrial Institute. The school was segregated at the time, and her students were unaware of Commonwealth, so she had made a Kentucky fact sheet as supplements to required text. They were then turned into a manuscript in 1939 and published in 1982 with the title, The Fascinating Story of Black Kentuckians, Their Heritage and Tradition. From 1947 to 1961, she served as chief of the Washington Bureau of the Associated Negro Press. She was a member of the Senate and House of Representatives in 1947, and in 1948 she became a White House correspondent, a position she held for 14 years. I had the pleasure of interviewing WMC Action News 5 anchor and reporter Kim Clark. Kim is a 30-year veteran of broadcast news and is no stranger to being in the public eye. Kim has done many things, from being a recording artist to being the first African-American woman to win Miss University of Georgia. She has made many accomplishments in her television and journalism career to now being a main anchor on WMC Action News 5. How are you today, Miss Clark?
I'm doing great.
I'm glad to hear it. Thank you. So, how long have you been a journalist?
I have been a journalist, well, let's see, I've been at Channel 5 for almost 28 and a half years, longer than twice your age, probably. And before that, I worked my first job was in Macon, Georgia. I worked there for about a year and a half, and then 6 months in Augusta, Georgia, and then here, so about 30 years.
Tamala Woods Calvin is a native of Preston, Mississippi, and is a 1998 graduate of Rusk College, where she majored in mass communications and broadcast journalism. She began her career more than 20 years ago at All-American Network, WBUY TV 40, as Master Control Operator and Production Assistant. She was then promoted to Public Affairs Director. When the network was bought by Trinity Broadcasting Network, she became Television Station Manager in 2005 for TBN. She also executive produces all of the local programs, national and international programs for TBN's WBUY TV. Mrs. Calvin is a Leading Ladies Award recipient, a Kendall Award recipient, a Church Girl Rocks recipient, and she is the first African-American television station manager for this region. Hello, I'm Kylie Gongas, and I'm here today with Mrs. Tamala Woods Calvin, television station manager. How are you today, Mrs. Calvin?
Doing great. Thank you for asking.
You're very welcome. Glad to hear that.
Thank you.
How does it feel to be a woman in the media industry?
It feels wonderful to be allowed to have a position like this. Back in the day, there were doors that women had to really knock down to even be able to be in front of the camera. You know, I feel blessed to have this opportunity to work in the media.
What made you decide to become a journalist?
I really sort of fell into it. I thought that I was going to go back to college after I got my undergraduate degree and get my master's and eventually my doctorate. But in the process, I was going to teach college, and I was going to teach communication or something like that. And as it turned out, I got a job one summer after I finished my undergraduate degree. I got a job at a radio station. Well, actually, it was in the fall. I got a job at a radio station, and it was fun. I was to start off DJing, and then they said, well, why don't you, we need somebody in the news department. Why don't you start doing news? And I started doing news, and I learned from scratch how to cover a news story. It was pretty bad. And then through the radio station, I met people who did freelance work at a TV station, and they said, you know, you have a great voice. Why don't you come and see if they need some female voice work for the TV station for commercials? That's why I went to audition for that. And the general manager met me and told the news director about me, and the news director came and said, why don't you do an air check? And so I did an air check, and then 2 weeks later they offered me my first TV job.
Have you faced any hardships and challenges as being a manager and a journalist?
Yes, I have. By me being a female, I face some challenges sometimes because traditionally this role has been for men. And so there's times when I have to figure out things dealing with our maintenance of the building and deal with vendors who are traditionally men. And so I've had to basically make sure that I knew what I was talking about, knowledgeable of the situation, and just stand my ground on those situations. So I've definitely had that challenge. And also when I became a manager, I had just turned 30 years old. And so just being a younger manager at the time, I also had to kind of find my way and get through those challenges of being someone younger than other people and managing them at times, you know. But ultimately, I've had just a wonderful staff here, and I'm very thankful for the, people that I've worked with.
Women have done so much so far, and there's so much more we're going to do.